Welcome to Next Generation Financial Management, a thought-provoking webinar that will totally redefine your understanding of what good financial management means in 2017. Before we start today's session, please allow me to guide you through a few navigation pointers about the GoToWebinar service. To ensure the best audio quality possible, everyone except for our panelists is muted. You may ask questions at any time during the webinar by typing them in the question tab located in the control panel to the right of your screen. This session is being recorded and both slides and the content will be made available to you after the webinar session is closed. My name is Alessandro and I will be your moderator today. If you don't want to miss out on future webinars and more tips about invoice management, contract management, and purchase-to-pay automation, you can follow Complete Software on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Google+. Also, we encourage you to tweet during today's webinar using the hashtag #CompleteLive. Today's session is going to be hosted by Neil Robertson, who has a 33-year track record of building global software businesses predominantly in the financial software marketplace. Over to you, Neil.
Hello, I'm Neil Robertson, CEO of Complete Software. Over the next 30 minutes, my objective is to totally change your perception of what constitutes good financial management and how simple it is to move finance out of the dark ages. Complete revolutionizes corporate financial and budget management in the same way as CRM revolutionized sales and marketing management. Now, I appreciate this is a bold statement, but you will be the judge of whether or not you agree by the end of this presentation. To put into perspective where most organizations are today, my first proper job was as sport ledger clerk in 1976 before I moved into selling accounting software in 1979. In the 40 years that have passed since then, we've all implemented ever more sophisticated accounting applications to deliver ever more sophisticated monthly management reports. But for everybody outside the finance department, almost nothing has changed. Most organizations we meet today are processing the paper exactly the same way as I did back in 1976. Organizations still depend on manual purchasing and invoice approval systems, and somewhat embarrassingly, they're still founded on processing paper invoices. From the finance department's perspective, the current processes work. Suppliers get paid eventually, management reports get delivered, and all of the financial statutory requirements are met. There is comfort in the proven processes, however archaic they may have become. And there's also the perceived control that it delivers, because all inquiries and requests must come to finance because the rest of the business is living in the dark. Almost all accounting and ERP solutions have the same fundamental weakness. They're designed to process fully approved transactions, whether purchase orders, receipts, or invoices. And once these are entered, all of the information is locked away in the account software vault or on countless bits of paper in the filing cabinets. And it's only when you look at the implications of this methodology outside the finance department does it start to become clear why every business needs to evolve from 1976. The spend that finance is processing is predominantly made by the budget holders. This is always the rest of the directors and includes an ever-growing number of other senior managers as the size of an organization grows. In the digitally interconnected world we all live in, the budget holder's perspective of the finance department is not complementary. Why do they still have to deal with paper invoice approvals, which they can only do when they're in the office and when they have time? And the only other information finance provides them about their suppliers and budgets is a set of management reports that are between 5 and 15 days out of date on delivery. The result is that every competent budget holder has to maintain their own spreadsheets to manage their budgets and spend. And as every finance manager is only too keen to point out, these spreadsheets are always wrong, and they almost never reconcile to the management accounts. And it's important that we understand why that statement is true, as it goes to the heart of delivering next generation financial management. Finance's responsibilities include the day-to-day activities of capturing and accurately processing every transaction to meet all of the statutory requirements. This includes accruing for all the anticipated costs that have been incurred but not yet reached the accounting software, the correct amortization of costs for prepaid services and capital expenditure, and then possibly interdepartmental cross-charging to apportion costs to understand the true overhead of every department. This correct financial management of each transaction ensures that budget holder spreadsheets and the management reports can never reconcile. But the problem is exacerbated by the limitations of the spend analysis in the finances chart of accounts, as this analysis is always a significant subset of the spend analysis held within the budget holder spreadsheets. So whilst it's easy to understand why the budget holder spreadsheets never reconcile with the management accounts, let's look at the implications of what that really means to the business. We'll start with the value of the information that's being captured by the budget holders, but almost is totally ignored by finance. We've already established the very limited availability of any current real-time information provided by finance to the budget holders. From the budget holders' perspective, they are the individuals that drive the business forward. They are the people that have to make the hard decisions on how best to invest available funds in delivering the progress that is expected of them. And they have to achieve this with very limited help or contribution from finance. It's not surprising that finance is often seen as holding the business back and the friction that that causes within the business. Being forced to deal with paper invoice approvals in 2017 simply underlines just how out of touch finance is with the real world. So let's consider the real value of budget holder spreadsheets on the basis that we can overcome the reasons why they never reconcile with the management accounts, and then replace them with something far better, far more accurate, and critically, far more convenient to use than spreadsheets. The primary purpose of these spreadsheets is to allow the budget holder to capture their spend as it happens and, more important, capture planned future spend to ensure they stay within the confines of their budget. Whilst it is easy for finance to question the value of the budget holder spreadsheets because they lack the discipline and accuracy of the management accounts, they also represent the only tools and information available for the budget holders to effectively manage their budget, both in terms of current spend, but also the planned future spend. And if a budget holder is not keeping spreadsheets, one has to question whether they're effectively managing their budgets at all. Bottom line, it is this inability of every business to deliver real-time information of the entire purchasing process, budget availability, and incorporate the planning of spend that creates the opportunity to revolutionize corporate financial management for the entire business. The world has changed. There are two catalysts that represent the biggest change to the accounting process in decades, and they have changed all of the rules for every business of every size. The first is the growth of email PDF invoices, which has become easily the predominant method of delivering purchase invoices today. And the second is the smartphone and the online purchasing skills that they have built within our workforce. Over the past 36 months, every organization has seen a very significant increase in purchase invoices arriving by email as a PDF. And you may well have adopted this methodology for sending out your own invoices. Why? Because everyone can, as almost every accounting software application provides this capability without charge, and it's simply just a matter of turning it on. We all want to be paid as quickly as possible. So rather than print out each invoice, put it in an envelope, pay for postage, and hope that the Royal Mail will deliver it in the next 3-4 days, simply send it as a PDF by email. It costs nothing. It arrives 100% of the time, almost instantaneously, giving your suppliers those extra days to process it for payment. And oh yes, it's green. So what's not to like? Today, unless you're specifically telling your suppliers to send paper invoices, you're already getting between 60 and 80% of your invoices arriving via email as a PDF. And almost every supplier will adopt this method if you ask them to. It's relatively easy to get to 90% of all invoices arriving as a PDF via email simply by asking. We've also heard of an increasing number of organisations starting to charge up to £5 premium per invoice if you want it on paper, justifying the additional costs solely on your organisation simply being rather behind the times. And what do most organisations do when the PDF arrives? They print them out on their paper with their ink and their time because their approval process is 100% paper-based. The beauty of a PDF invoice is it is an electronic document that contains all of the data required to render the readable version. And that enables us to capture that invoice, harvest all the data, and deliver a 100% accurate e-invoice with a PDF attached directly into a workflow approval process without any touch. We can do the same for paper invoices, simply by you scanning them. This methodology replaces OCR because it's much more accurate, requires a fraction of the time, and anyway, there's very little paper to scan in the first place. It is transformational. Not only do we just remove 100% of the paper at source with almost zero effort on your part, we also enabled 100% automated multi-step workflow approvals and also invoice query management from any device. The invoice information and the associated PDF is stored for a minimum of 6 years, making it 100% compliant with HMRC and VAT regulations. Now, while my next statement may make a few financial folks shudder, it's a fact. You can shred all of the paper invoices as there's no valid defensible reason for keeping them. Paper is simply old school and reflects a time and a discipline that has passed its sell-by date and frankly makes your business look old-fashioned both internally and externally. As important, this simple step removes all of the work currently undertaken to print the PDFs, collate the paper invoices, record them, send them out for approval, chasing those approvals, getting copies for the ones that get lost, and then filing them. Or put another way, it removes 70% of accounts payable time doing work that adds no value to the business, but successfully locks all of that information away from the business. But it's what else it does that makes this so compelling. Budget holders can now see all of their suppliers' turnover, how much they are spending, on what and with whom. Invoice approval is a slick and much faster process. Just a click or two on any connected device, including mobiles, and they can see the exact status of every transaction and even whether or not it is being paid. Every invoice query is captured and owned by one individual through to a swift resolution and avoiding all of the calls and supplier issues that slow invoice query management causes. The budget holders can also see the exact status of their available budget from a moment the invoice arrives. So for the first time, budget holders have access to the information that they need to get best value out of their spend from every supplier. And finance have total oversight on the exact status of every transaction, a much faster and more efficient approval process, and instant and accurate month-end accruals. Everybody in the organization knows the exact status of every transaction that is in process. It's a one single view of the truth in real time, all of the time. Unsurprisingly, a lot of organizations start with purchase invoice approval automation with e-invoicing because it's so cheap and easy to do, and it frees up the accounts payable department from all the mate work of paper to focus on more interesting and valuable work. There's no question whether or not every business will move to this methodology, as it's almost impossible to justify why you wouldn't. It's just a matter of when. It's so simple, we even offer a 100% free invoice capture and approval process that can be configured and go live in less than an hour. So let's turn our attention now to the purchasing process and start with the people that work for us. 2017 is the 10th anniversary of the introduction of the iPhone and has made Apple the largest business in the world. There's even talk of them reaching $1 trillion valuation during this year. Smartphones have changed everything. It is a very powerful computer in your hand that's always connected and which most of us have now become completely addicted to. As a result, almost everyone has become a competent buyer for our own purchases. We check out what's available, what the prices are, who we'd like to deal with, and then buy online without a second thought. Our purchasing covers a huge area, from organizing holidays and flights, cars and household insurance, the weekly shop, clothes, furniture, in fact, just about everything. And all of our staff are already very proficient at this, and then they come to work. Just take a moment to think about the transition from their perspective of the world that they live in and the world that they work in, namely how your company buys and pays for stuff. So why is there such a huge difference? Well, the common response is you'll have to ask the finance department, because they make the rules. Let's be clear on one thing. Your business does have purchase ordering processes, as nothing ever arrives at a business without some form of order being made, however informal or indisciplined that process may be. Unless a disciplined purchasing process has been implemented by finance, which is usually either a very laborious paper process or some form of spreadsheet, every department does their own thing, and that reflects the preferences, disciplines, and skills of the respective budget holders. And as for paper invoices, all the information gathered by these time-consuming processes is lost once the order is completed, because it's in a format that makes it impractical to access by the business. There are three common concerns about purchasing automation: the ability of the staff to use it, the process of making the change, and the value it delivers from a financial justification perspective. Let's deal with the first two: the ability of the staff to use it, and then the discipline to use it every time for everything they buy. There is no question about the ability of most of your staff to be able to use a purchasing process. They are already experts with their own money. And if it's going to improve and simplify all of the current bureaucracy and paper with something that they already do all the time, then it will be welcomed. The value to the budget holder is so significant that they will actually ensure that their staff make the change. And this is helped by the fact that every breach of the new discipline and the culprit responsible is captured every time. This is a discipline that is very easy to enforce. The simple act of capturing a request to buy, putting it through a fully automated approval process, and checking the available budget along the way is very easy. It just requires a little discipline. The implications of this relatively simple step are simply huge. So let's assume that you successfully implemented purchase order and invoice automation. Your business is capturing every request to purchase, putting it through the correct approval process, and validating it against budget as it goes. Every supplier now gets a formal order with the relevant T's and C's, so there is no argument about the value of the invoice that they need to send. Finance has now got commitment accounting, the ability to see all financial commitments and when they will result in cash flow requirements as far into the future as those orders relate to. The invoice is received, converted to data with the PDF of the invoice attached, and automatically starts the approval process on arrival with zero touch by anybody. If the invoice matches the order or is within tolerance, it's delivered directly to the budget holder for approval. And on final approval, it's automatically posted to your accounts software without being touched by the accounts department. And that will be about 70 to 80% of all the invoices you receive. The 20 to 30% of invoices that have significant differences from the order will be automatically captured, put under query, and can be individually managed to a rapid conclusion. And if you use receipting of the order, effectively pre-invoice approval, and you get the three-way match between the order, the receipt, and the invoice, and again, this is normally between 70 and 80% of invoices you receive, these invoices are automatically captured, reconciled, auto-approved, and posted to your account software without anybody touching them. This is the nirvana of straight-through, zero-touch invoice processing. Take a moment to consider the time saving available by this methodology. It's not surprising that some finance departments are just a little uncomfortable with the concept of these changes because of the implications to their current job. But that really is no excuse for finance to continue to keep the rest of the business in the dark, solely justified by their unwillingness to change. It removes about 70% of the current accounts payable workload with a far, far better methodology. Obviously, the automated workflow can be set up so finance can manually check every invoice before it's processed by the accounting software. But this will be rapidly proven to be a pointless exercise once finance has the confidence that every transaction is being correctly processed. But the value again is in what else has been achieved, and here lies the return on investment. I'm going to introduce a new term for you, and it's the primary driver for next generation financial management. Budget holder management is the ability to provide your budget holders and their staff with all the tools and the information that enable them to be more proficient, productive, and accountable for budget spend. Budget holders and their staff now have an absolute oversight in absolute detail on every aspect of the purchasing process. They can see everything related to their purchasing, every supplier, every current and historic transactions, its exact status, and a real-time view of their budget availability based on the correct account handling of every transaction, whether it's a requisition, a soft commitment, the order, a hard commitment, receipted goods and services, an accrual, or approved invoice. From a cost management perspective, financial management has become a real-time experience from any connected device, and for most businesses replaces a considerable proportion of the historic management accounts reports. The finance department is no longer the current vault in which everything is locked up in the accounting software or in the filing cabinet, because next generation financial management starts with the people that spend the money, and accounting has become just that, how we account for it. We've also resolved the problem of budget holder spreadsheets never reconciling with the management accounts, because we've removed most of the need for either by delivering a single real-time view of the truth, available to everybody that needs to know. But budget holder management does not stop there, as there are two final critical requirements. These are project management and spend analysis. So let's start with project management. The current budget holders spreadsheets allow the budget holders to plan for future spend, which is a critical part of next generation financial management process, and it has to be incorporated into the automation process to maximize the benefits. The process to achieve this is simple. First, create a project transaction, capture the relevant information on possible costs and timescale, and then save it. The information is now reflected in the budget availability as far into the future as you plan. The project can then be updated with more detailed and accurate supplier information as it becomes available over time, until it's ready for approval. On approval, the project value becomes the project budget, and as the orders are generated, all associated costs are captured against it. And this includes unexpected costs, for example, variation orders. Whether a project is a simple departmental discipline or a corporate-wide initiative with multiple departments involved, everyone has a real-time view of the exact financial state of play of every project as it happens. Just compare this methodology to trying to achieve the same objective with your accounting software, with month-end reports, and with spreadsheets. And ask yourself, what is the commercial value of understanding the implications of the decision you're about to make at the time you are making it, rather than actually reading about it some 4 to 6 weeks later in the management accounts? Project management replaces the requirement for spreadsheets to capture future spend. It's far faster and easier to manage and delivers the information to everybody that needs to know rather than just the owner of the spreadsheet. Finance just got oversight of all planned future spend and cash flow implications that it represents as far into the future as the business plans. And the entire business now has one single view of the truth of everything that we are planning to spend, in the process of spending, and have spent, available to everybody that needs to know 24/7 from every device. But it's the last enhancement that's required to deliver true budget holder management. To understand the challenge, you only have to look at budget holder spreadsheets and how they analyze their spend, and then compare it to the accounting software chart of accounts and the subsequent management reports. What you'll discover is each department has a very different way of analyzing their expenditure. Marketing is radically different to IT, and both are totally different to, say, facilities management, and are far more granular and relevant to their respective roles than the financial chart of accounts. To address this and deliver comparable information to the budget holder spreadsheets, we need to enable every budget holder to create their own analysis of spend, either from scratch on existing spreadsheets or using departmental templates and edit them to suit their specific needs. These analysis codes are then permanently hardwired to the relevant charted of account codes. So both the budget holder and the finance department can see the information in the relevant format that they wish to at any time. These analysis codes are used at the creation of requisitioned and planned projects instead of the chart of accounts. This delivers the level of granularity of information the budget holder needs, whilst also delivering the correct financial analysis for the general ledger. The result is that we now have totally removed the need for budget holder spreadsheets with something far faster, far better, and far easier to use that also delivers significantly more information to the business. The departmental budget holder analysis of spend is far more valuable and informative than the chart of accounts monthly management reports, which only deals with what has already happened and takes no consideration of the planned expenditure and provides no mean to manage that spend in real time. I made a bold claim at the beginning of this presentation about the ability to deliver next generation financial management. In summary, it is the moving of financial management from a back-end reporting process of historic information based on paper, where all the information is invisible to the business, to an upfront, real-time view of everything that has taken place, is taking place, and is planned to take place. It is based on the knowledge that good financial management must start with the people that actually spend the money, giving them the tools and the information that enables them to hone their financial management skills, become accountable for their actions, whilst making the money work harder and spending very much less time trying to track it in the process. It is the delivery of all of the purchasing information available to everyone that needs to know on exactly where we are and where we believe we're going to be 24/7 from any device. Next generation financial management delivers a real-time view of the financial truth and is available to every business through tight integration with your existing accounting or ERP software. So how hard is this to implement? The only two things that need to change is the electronic processing of your supplier invoices and the discipline to use a far easier ordering process than the current undisciplined ones in use today. And I'd just like to wrap up by making two final points. The first is what I've described today is readily available and being implemented by an ever-growing number of organizations. But to achieve all of the benefits does not happen overnight. It's a journey that often starts with the simple step of automating the purchasing invoice capture and approval process. To achieve full next generation financial management, you just need to ensure that the supplier you select to automate your invoicing can also deliver the functionality for the full journey. Second point is about the people. The budget holders that use spreadsheets today will love this, and those that don't will radically improve their financial management skills. As for the accounts payable staff, with 75% of their time now available for more valuable contribution, we recommend that they start working very closely with the budget holders to squeeze all of the value available from automation and help deliver the utterly compelling return on investment. So the final question you need to answer for yourself is whether your organization will still be processing bits of paper in the years to come. Budget holders will still be using spreadsheets, and everyone will be reliant on the management reports that are 5 to 15 days out of date on delivery. Or do you believe that you will eventually be working the way that I described? Our view, unsurprisingly, is that every business will adopt next generation financial management, simply because the benefits and the ROI are so compelling for every member of the board of directors in almost every business. So getting board approval becomes extremely straightforward. And in life, the most informed decisions are made by having all the information to hand. If you'd like to find out more, please do get in touch with us, because this probably costs far less than you think. And you'll be very comforted to know that we are equally as keen as you to quantify the costs as soon as possible, so that we both make the best use of our time. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Neil, for this webinar today. Using technology is not about spending money on a solution, but rather about saving money, gaining control of your business processes, and recouping a significant amount of valuable time for your organization to do more productive activities. Businesses like Complete Software offer a paradigm in accounting operations in which automation, control, and daily tasks are embedded within daily activities to better support the business across its department. We would like to invite all our registrants to keep in touch. By registering for webinars, following financial organizations on Twitter, and reading news and blogs, CFOs can undoubtedly stay informed of the latest and greatest trends and news available to help their department grow and remain an invaluable asset to the business. It's just a matter of discovering what you're missing and then doing something about it. I would like just to add a few notes on Complete. Complete Software is a leading provider of powerful spend management solutions for SMEs that eliminates paper and unites finance, procurement, and budget holders, providing an accurate, real-time picture of company finances. Offering the next generation of purchasing and budget management automation at an affordable cost, its P2P software comprises solutions for e-invoicing, purchase invoice approval, purchase order and receipting, employee expenses, contract management, and report generation. Please do not hesitate to contact us at complete@completesoftware.com or give us a call if you have any questions. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time and attention. The webinar is now concluded.